Awesome. Hey everybody, my name is Sean Cecil and I'm here to talk to you guys about when it's time to make a career change. Okay, so one question that I get a lot from people is, well, I'm in this situation and can I just tough it out and, maybe it's okay. I don't know, it's so scary to think about making a change. Like, what do I do, right? And fundamentally, the question that they're asking is this at a point where it's intolerable and or unsustainable? Do I actually have to do something or can I just sit where I am? And more often than not, the answer is that you cannot just sit where you are. But today I'm going to give you the equivalent of a checkup with a career doctor. So you can look for 3 symptoms that you can determine if any one of those is true, your career has the equivalent of a chronic disease and you need to make some kind of shift. So we'll dive in with symptom number 1. And symptom number 1 is very simple. It's, do you enjoy what you do on a daily basis? And this doesn't just mean, do you believe that you're working for a good cause? This means that when you show up to work and you think about the activities that you do day in and day out, and the people who you interact with day in and day out, does that make you happy? Right? If you think back to last month, how many days last month did you actually look forward to going into work? That number should be greater than 50%. And if you think about the opposite, how many days last month did you dread going into work? And it was more than 20%. Either one of those is a big, big, big red flag. If you want to put it in Marie Kondo terms, she's this famous professional organizer. She'll ask about objects. Does it bring you joy? And it's a very simple question, right? But it's all the more powerful when you don't just apply it to some random piece of junk. You apply it to your career as a whole, something that you devote half of your waking life to in some cases, or a third of your waking life to. If it doesn't bring you joy, then you're doing something wrong, right? And the truth is that eventually you will burn out. And whether that burnout takes the form of you getting so fed up that you just walk in and quit, whether it takes the form of your bosses noticing that you're not really showing up, that you're present, but you're not really present, and giving you the boot and firing you because you're not really committed and you don't want to be there, or whether it takes the form of you just suffering day in and day out for 40 years, none of those is an acceptable outcome. So if your job doesn't bring you joy, if you aren't happy when you go into work at least half of the time, or if you're waking up, at least one day a week, just, oh man, I just really don't want to go in, that's a big red flag that you need to make a career change. The second symptom that you want to look out for is financial. And that is, are you bringing in enough compensation to meet your financial ambitions? And when I say financial ambitions, I chose those words really, really, really carefully. Because most people are thinking, oh, does it pay my bills? And that's not the question you should be asking. Because if the only thing that it does is pay your bills, you're not going to be excited. You're not going to be revved up. Right? When I say financial ambitions, you should have dreams to do more than just pay your bills. You should have dreams to do something that makes you excited. Maybe it's buying a new car. Maybe it's going on a special vacation. Maybe it's buying an awesome engagement ring for that woman you want to propose to. Maybe it's getting your kids into a really high quality private school. I don't care. Whatever it is, whatever you truly value, that's what matters. But don't hold it back. Far too many people hold themselves back. And they say, oh, well, as long as I can pay the bills and not have the credit card companies cut me off and not get evicted from my home, then that's enough. But the truth is, you've got more potential than that. You've got the potential to do something that really makes you happy, that really brings you enthusiasm. And if your job isn't getting you to the point where you have the ability to set goals that are really going to make you enthusiastic, then you're going to get restless. It's going to start creating friction. And it may start off small. It may start off just feeling bored one day, but it's going to grow and grow and grow. And whether you take action on it or whether you internalize it is up to you. But if you're not on track to see the kind of financial growth that's going to allow you to really wake up and feel juiced and have a zest for life and live the way that you truly want to live, then that's another red flag. That's a symptom that you've got to look out for. And if you have really simple tastes and you don't want much out of life and you have everything that you want financially, great. There's nothing wrong with that. But be honest with yourself. Are you saying that because it's really true and you're deeply content with your standard of living? Or are you saying that because you don't think that you can do better? If it's the latter, then you really need to take a hard look and get clear on what your financial ambitions really are if you really believed in yourself. And ask yourself that question. If you could not fail, what would you set your target as? And is your current career going to provide you a track to make that happen? And then finally, the third symptom is your current career path sustainable? If you're working at a company, sustainable means promotion track. So if you're on promotion track, then the primary value that the company sees in you is not what you're currently doing, it's the future value that you could add. As soon as you take off that future value, which is normally the bulk of an employee's value if they are believed to be somebody who's going to keep on going down promotion track. If you think about it, how much more do they pay the CEO or the C-suite than they do a middle manager, right? That shows how much more value a company places on those people. And if they think you have the potential to be that person, then that's going to be the bulk of your value. So once you fall off that promotion track, if you're just steady, you become expendable. You normally run the risk then of being laid off, and it can happen suddenly, and you don't know when it's going to happen. So if you're not on promotion track, you have to take a really good hard look, because the chances are you're expendable. Now there are exceptions, and there are always cases where maybe you can't rise higher, but they can't live without you, which I found also tends to create other kinds of toxic dynamics. So if you're working for somebody else, the question to ask yourself is, are you on promotion track? And if you are, it's sustainable. If you're not, that's a red flag. Now, let's say you're not working for somebody else. Let's say you're freelancing, or let's say you have your own company. Sustainable means that you have a reliable pipeline of leads. You have some way of whenever you need to go out and get a new customer, you can do it. You have new people speaking to you every week about hiring you for your goods or services. If you don't have that, or if it's not profitable, so for example, say you're spending more on advertising than you're making, and you don't have a reliable pipeline that can generate profitable business, then you're not in a sustainable position. Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily need to give up on your business early, because a lot of people, when they get started, struggle with that, but you do need to figure out how to fix that problem if you want your business to continue, right? One thing I've seen is that people will go and they'll get one client, right? So say they leave a corporate job and then they become a consultant, and then they'll get one client and they'll become dependent on that one client. And then that one client has the keys to whether or not your business lives or dies. And that's not a position you want to be in. You want to be in a position where you're controlling your destiny, where you're not dependent upon one rich person who's basically your employer in all but name. That's not sustainable. That's not independent. So just to recap, right? Symptom number 1, do you enjoy your job? Symptom number 2, does your career provide for your financial ambitions? Not just paying the bills, but financial ambitions. And symptom number 3, is your career sustainable? So for employees, that means promotion track. For freelancers or entrepreneurs, that means a reliable pipeline of profitable leads. If you answered no to any of those 3 questions, then yes, it is time to make a change. If that's the case, this is where people come to me and they say, hey, listen, is this really a problem? If you said no to any of those 3 questions, then the career doctor is telling you, yes, that's a problem and it's time to make a change. And so if you guys want to get an overview of how that process works and how that transition and that change occurs, then I've got a free presentation for you. You guys can go check it out. It's www.oculusinstitute.com/workshop. That's www.oculusinstitute.com/workshop. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment below, like this video. Would love to hear from you, and have a wonderful day.